Hey guys, Waterfowler41 here, and in today's video we're going to do a really quick interior upgrade on the 2020 Ram Rebel. So what we're looking at here are a shift knob, climate control knobs, and radio knobs designed by a company called AJT Designs. So these are machined aluminum overlays in the case of the radio and climate control, and replacement knobs that will really pop on the interior of the Rebel. So in this video I'm going to show you how easy it is to install these things and then what they look like before and after. So from the knob perspective, so for the climate control and for the radio knobs, basically the way these things install is they slip on over the top of the existing knobs, and then you carefully tighten down each one of these little set screws using the provided tool and hardware that comes in the kit. Now these set screws didn't come installed. I had to go ahead and pre-install these, so I went ahead and did that inside since it is 12 degrees and super cold outside right now. But anyway, each one of these uses set screws to hold on to the existing knob, and these basically just slide over the top one, and then you just carefully tighten these things. So you just tighten it, twist it, tighten it, just carefully tighten it. You don't want to overdo it. You don't need much on these guys. Then as far as the shift knob, so this is going to be a complete replacement for the factory shift knob. So what you're going to do is you're going to pop the center cap off of the factory shift knob, and then there's going to be 3 Torx screws. The AJT company does give you the Torx bit to remove those screws. Pull those screws off. We're going to pull the factory shift knob off. Then we're going to slide this guy right back on where the factory one was, install those 3 screws. Then we're going to use the hex head screws to then fasten, I guess, the cap to the center of the shift knob. Then we're done. So again, super easy install. It's going to add a nice little pop to the interior of the car. I was back and forth between the silver and the black design. I just thought the black would have been a little too much black hardware inside the truck, and I think the silver is going to give it a nice pop, especially considering when I purchased my new steering wheel, I went with that silver threading. So let's get everything ready to go and then hop inside the interior of the car. So other than the tools that they give you in the kit, you will need a small little flathead screwdriver, and I'm also going to take a razor blade to help get that center cap popped open on the factory shift knob so I don't mar anything. But other than that, everything else you need comes in the kit. So let's go ahead and get inside the truck. Alright, so we're inside the truck, and we're going to start with the shift knob because that one's going to be fun. The other ones are super easy. All they do is just slip on right over the factory knobs, and then we just tighten those down. We'll get to those last. But like I said, we're going to focus on the shift knob. So the first thing we're going to need to do is pop out the center cap. It's a very tight fit around the edge here, so that's why I would suggest using a razor blade just to kind of start it. So the razor blade is going to be used to kind of pop in between the knob itself and then that center cap, and then we're going to pull it off. There's a little bit of adhesive behind this guy, so it might fight with you for a little bit, but once you get it off, that will reveal the 3 screws that we're going to undo. Then it's as simple as popping this guy off, putting our new AJT knob on, and then finishing up the process. Alright, so we have the center cap completely removed here. Put up a little bit of a fight. It's a very close tolerance, so make sure you get a very small flathead. I had to switch to a jeweler's screwdriver because this had enough backbone to get in there, but also it was skinny enough to get in between the 2 seams. Anyway, here's the adhesive that's holding this guy on. So now that we got this removed, we could set that aside, and then we're going to use the supplied Torx bit that comes in the kit, and we're going to access that screw, this screw, and this screw. Once we remove that, this whole thing should pop off. We're not doing anything with the center screw, just these 3 side ones here. Alright, so I have those screws removed. So just a little hack when you're working in your Ram. This little area right here in the center console is perfect for those small screws so you don't lose them. Anyway, let's focus right back on the shift knob. So now that we got the screws out, this guy just easily pulls right off, and we're good to go. So now that we have that pulled off, we're going to go ahead and install this guy. Now the trick here is we want to line up those 3 inset, those sunken in holes there, so that one there, and here. We want to line those up with that, and that. So we're really going to rotate this guy until it drops down into place. I understand it should just, yeah, so there you go. Just fits right in there. So now what we're going to do is take those 3 screws that we removed, these guys, we're going to use that bit that came with the kit and just go ahead and reinstall those 3 screws. But so far, that looks awesome. Alright, so the shift knob itself is completely installed. You don't got to get crazy tight with these things. Again, it's just going into plastic, just enough to hold it in place. Looks good, fits perfectly. So now the last thing we got to do is take the center cap, which has AJT Designs nicely embossed on the back of it. We're going to pop this guy right into the center there, line it up with the holes, and then use that supplied hardware, so these little screws here, to install everything. And just like with the Torx bit here, it comes with a hex key that will fit the screws here, so you don't need any additional tools. All right, knob is completely installed. You don't need to get crazy tight with these hex head screws that go around it. It's just there to hold the center cap in there, so just hand tight. That's all you got to do. Don't need to crank it down, but that looks great. Sticks out a little bit nicely. Really nice aluminum trim, kind of matches nicely with the rest of the truck. So let's go ahead and start with installing these guys. Super simple. Again, same thing. We're just going to take these guys, and they just literally, they pop over the existing radio knobs, and there's really only one way that they fit. So you basically want to line up the set screws with the insets on each of the knobs here. Then it comes with an Allen head kit that we're just going to slowly tighten these guys up one by one. And you can see all they're there to do is just kind of push on the inside, so it holds everything up against here. So all right, so I went ahead and did the top two here, super easy. I think I also did this one. Really all you're trying to do is you want to line up these screws with the indent section, because that gives you enough room to screw these guys in. That way they're recessed inside the knob itself. If you line these screws up with the ridged part, the screws are going to be sticking out. It's going to look kind of janky. So you just basically line up the screws with the indents in the knob, push it on there, and then I was just using the Allen wrench here at the bottom, and I would just twist it. Basically, you don't need these crazy tight, just enough that they're flush. That's all it takes to hold them into place, because all you're trying to do with those screws is just screw them in a little bit so it pushes on the rubber, and friction is what's holding everything into place. Other than that, they look great. So we got the shift knob, we got the radio knobs, ties in everything nicely, matches my 12 o'clock silver ring. Kind of glad I went with that now. Matches a nice silver ring around my push to start button. Anyway, that is how you install the AJT radio knobs, climate control knobs, and shifter knob. Super easy install. I'll leave the link to these guys down in the description below. They also have a key fob that they're going to be releasing soon, which I'm probably going to try to pick up. But with that said, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Bye.